Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is highly regarded as one of the most historically accurate open-world RPGs on the market. But what if we made it more historically accurate? In this video, I will be pushing the boundaries of our good old boy Henry, and will attempt to beat KCD2 as a real medieval citizen. What does this mean, you might ask? Well, my motes, let me break it down for you. Here are the rules. Rule 1. Hardcore mode with all negative traits is selected. Rule 2. Henry has to sleep every night. Twice. That's right. Medieval citizens slept every night in 2 shifts. Rule 3. Henry has to eat like a real human. Henry will eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with accurate meal choices. Rule 4. Realistic inventory. Henry will only carry what a real man can. Rule 5. Henry has to dress appropriately for different situations. Rule 6. No potions allowed. Henry has to use bandages or rest when injured. Rule 7. We have to stick to the chosen build. More on that later. Rule 8. Permadeath. Henry will die if he dies. Rule 9. Weather matters. Henry will stay inside during heavy rain and storms. Rule 10. Stick to a routine. Now, to make this even more fucking challenging on myself, I will be picking a combat build as well as a personality. I will be throwing these into a wheel spinner to choose which build I'm forced to play as. The possible builds are the Skirmisher. This build contains light armor, a bow, and a short sword. The Shock Trooper. This build contains heavy armor and blunt weapons. The Chivalric Knight. This build contains heavy armor, chainmail, and a longsword. For fun, I'm throwing in some wildcard builds here that will be the most challenging and probably lead to a quick death. The wildcard builds. Polearm Master. Not much to say about this one. Henry just likes poles. The Archer. Ultralight armor and bows and crossbows only. No melee weapons allowed. Now moving on to personalities, I have created 4 historically accurate groupings of personality traits that would each suit a different version of Henry. Each contains a core flaw and a set of behavioral rules that I must use to roleplay. The possible personalities are the Superstitious Zealot. This Henry is driven by intense religious anxiety and fear of damnation. The Simple Blacksmith's Boy. This Henry is just a regular trade apprentice who wants his old peaceful life back. The Vengeful Ghost. This Henry doesn't care about rebuilding his life. He only lives to make Sigismund's invading forces bleed. The Hedonistic Scoundrel. This Henry decided that since he lost everything at Skalitz, he is going to spend the rest of his days enjoying every earthly pleasure Bohemia has to offer. Alright gentlemen, let's spin the wheel.
Combat build.
Okay. Now I have to be honest, I suck at archery in this game.
Personality.
Oh boy. Well, I guess we're playing as an archer. On the plus side, however, we're essentially playing as an asshole. Now let me tell you more about the Hedonistic Scoundrel. Life is short, brutal, and could end tomorrow by a human arrow or the plague. This Henry decided that since he lost everything at Skalitz, he is going to spend the rest of his days enjoying every earthly pleasure Bohemia has to offer. The core flaw for this case is that Henry is greedy, impulsive, and completely unreliable. Henry must end at a tavern every single night and drink until he's visibly drunk, spend a considerable amount of gold at bathhouses. If he notices a valuable cup, ring, or necklace lying around, he must steal it. Not because he's a master criminal, but because he needs fast cash for his next party. If a combat encounter has more than 2 armored opponents, Henry will turn around and sprint away. Henry is a scoundrel, and is not willing to die for his honor. Henry's also a smooth talker, so he's forced to use the charm or lie options in dialogue. Okay, we have begun the playthrough. We've started out with 0 groschen, so we're gonna have to make some money. How do we do this though? We can't be going to the blacksmith. We must visit the miller to hone in on our thievery skills. We've spec'd into some skills already, but we're going to ignore anything that wouldn't suit our build or personality. Right now, since I don't have a bow yet, we're going to be using the hunting sword just to be able to defend ourselves. Also, we're role-playing a real human here. Do you really think that a real human would jog or sprint everywhere? Absolutely not. So we're going to be walking to all locations until we can get ourselves a horse. Let's begin our journey to the Semine Mill. On our way to the mill, the clock hit high noon, so we stopped off in Lower Semine to sit on a bench and enjoy a succulent pretzel. Alright, let's eat our pretzel. That's all we have, and it gave it gave us 2 nourishment. Excellent. After our meal, we arrived at the Semine Mill and began some work. The miller told me he'd pay me 1 groschen for every half-dozen sacks that I carry.
I'll give you a groschen for every half-dozen you carry.
Unfortunately, he lied, and I never got paid. But while I was moving the sacks, I discovered that he was secretly doing some sort of magic ritual with the contents, and he let me know I could help him out by stealing a book that would help him on his way. Now, since we're a piece of shit, this is just the job for us. The miller led us to one of his hired hands to level up our thieving skills. I did some pickpocketing, takedown, and lockpicking practice to fill the time. The miller's hired hand also told us about a woodcutter's camp nearby with a hidden chest. I think we'll check that out later after our first sleep. After practicing my thievery skills, I decided to take a look around the miller's house to see if I could find anything of value. I was happily surprised to find a bottle of schnapps with my name on it. Someone wasn't thrilled to find those schnapps missing.
Wait, something's missing here. Someone stole it!
5 o'clock hit, so I ate some dinner and drank those schnapps and started my first sleep a little early, since I decided that I would be checking out the woodcutter's camp at midnight to find any valuables I can, and had no idea if I'd even be able to complete a second sleep depending on how that went. Midnight rolled around and I hit the road to the woodcutter's camp. On the way, I noticed that there were some bandits waiting for an unsuspecting wayfarer like myself to ambush. There's some people up here. Yeah, I have a feeling this might be an ambush. Let me see if I can somehow sneak by them. So I put some of those stealth skills I practiced earlier to use and snuck around them. Once I arrived at the woodcutter's camp, I tried to pickpocket one of the workers, but failed. Oh, I gotta leave.
Looking for something in there? Thief!
We gotta go. This commenced a grandiose brawl as the woodcutters attempted to defend themselves.
Rip your
Alright, let's see what we can do.
Show what you're made of.
Oh my god. Ouch. Nice. To their surprise, I absolutely demolished them in our brawl, to the point where one of them even pulled an axe on me. That was a mistake for him. Once I dealt with the woodcutters, I searched around for this hidden chest I was told about, but I couldn't find it. It will have to wait for another time. I trekked back to the mill and decided to have a short second sleep to rest up after the brawl. And, well, somnambulant kicked in. If you aren't familiar with somnambulant, it is one of the optional traits in hardcore mode, where Henry sleeps 40% worse, and there is a chance every sleep that he will sleepwalk to a random location on the map. At this point, I had no idea where I was, so I decided to start walking. Henry was a very hungry boy, and I needed to find him some breakfast. Luckily, I was able to find an abandoned house with 2 wild dogs. I slayed the dogs and took their meat. Hopefully, I'd be able to find somewhere to cook it later. Also, there was a hidden chest in the abandoned house which held a key to the chest in the attic, so I went up there and found a few things that will be useful later. There was also a sack filled with 42 onions, so I munched as many as I could to fill up and put the rest back because what human being is carrying around 42 onions? I then continued to trek on, and just as it began to rain, I found a camp on the side of the road that I could use to wait the rain out. One of the nomads at the camp challenged me to a game of dice, and I won. I then cooked up the dog meat that I gathered earlier, and then perched up under some cover to wait the rain out. Once the rain stopped, I continued on my journey to find civilization again. It was getting dark, so I decided to start jogging to speed up my travel time. I was called over by a man standing next to a tree who mentioned he had just had his first son, and he wanted me to drink with him to celebrate. Now, Henry, being the scoundrel he is, suspected nothing and drank the man's drink. I think we both know where this goes.
Ugh. That was fucking disgusting. What?
It's a very good thing that I played dice earlier because he stole the exact amount of my winnings. And my boots. But alas, it was time again to trek on. It was getting very late now, and I discovered that I had approached Troskowitz. And we know what that means. I decided to use my groschen wisely, so I bought 7 beers. I sat down with my beers and drank all of them. And since I had nothing better to do, I decided to gamble. And I won. Every time. Now, the owner of the tavern still wouldn't speak to me since the original brawl I had with Hans here.
Have you come to break some more stuff? If you want something, wait till I stop being angry.
But the bailiff holds no grudges. Due to my overwhelming allergy to loyalty, I decided to tell him everything about the miller's strange goings-on.
I have to tell you that there are some, things going on in the mill in Lower Semine that don't seem to have much to do with milling flour.
And made a pact to entrap the miller and his cronies in return for a handsome amount of groschen.
You mean be your informant?
Well, let's call it a trade. Valuable first-hand reports in exchange for honest, officially approved groschen.
Since it was getting late, I decided that I would take my first sleep now, and awake later to steal the book that the miller needs. So I did that.
Let's close the door. Do what we gotta do. I think it's in here somewhere. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, here we go. Beautiful.
Then took my second sleep. With just my luck, I awoke to pouring rain, which completely ruined all of my plans for the day. And of course, I was hungry and had no food. So I had to wait out the rainstorm before I could run to the trader and buy some dried chicken. I began my trek back to Lower Semine to hand in the book, and of course, it started raining again. So I ran over to the nearest house I could find and thought it would be best to put my newfound thieving skills to use and find some valuables I could sell. Safe to say, I was caught.
Something's missing here. Someone stole it!
Oh, shit.
They were threatening to call the guards, so I ran like the wind. But then they stopped threatening to call the guards and started threatening me instead.
We could have sorted this out peacefully.
Oh, I am bleeding.
You haven't a chance. No chance.
Despite a difficult fight, I kicked this guy's peasant ass and stole all of his coin. From there, I continued my trek back to the mill. Once I arrived at the mill, I realized it was high noon, so I decided to grab some lunch. I then talked to the miller to turn in the book I was meant to steal, and realized that I had taken the wrong book.
Oh, that's not the right book.
Henry, you fool! So I made my way back to Troskowitz to steal the right document this time. When I got there, I decided to make a quick pit stop to sell some items that I picked up from the woodcutter's camp. Afterwards, I was stopped by a guard. He recognized me from the debacle I got myself into earlier. Despite my efforts to scheme my way out of punishment...
Wait a moment. I'm sure we can come to an agreement, can't we? I didn't steal anything. That's mine.
No. No, it isn't.
Shit.
Don't try to make a fool out of me.
Well, I've got no choice but to accept my punishment.
I was forced to go to the stocks. When my jail time was up, it was getting late, so I decided to hit the tavern once again. At this point, Henry was starving, so I did what any sane person would do. I bought a full chicken and 5 beers. I gulped it all down and headed straight to the dice table. And look what we did, boys. We've got enough to buy a horse now. Since it's late, I decided to do my first sleep now so that I could steal the document for the miller under the shadow of darkness. And of course, somnambulant kicked in. Luckily, it placed me in the exact same spot as the first time, and I used Henry's astonishing lay of the land to head back to Troskowitz before the darkness faded. Unluckily though, I had a really hard time stealing this document. For some reason, some dickhead was awake inside the rat house and kept getting angry at me every time I broke in.
Hey, you're not allowed here. Hurry up. Get out.
Okay.
So, what'll it be? Leave here now.
We'll have to wait for another day. I went back to do my second sleep, and wow, again. This time I was placed right by Takov. And since Henry was morbidly hungry, I caved and decided to help the blacksmith in hopes that he would give me some food. I couldn't possibly forfeit any of the groschen I won playing dice, because I needed that for my horse. After being handy with some rods, I munched up their entire food supply for the day and set off for the Samine horse breeders. Once there, I bought back Pebbles.
I'll buy her from you then.
That's more like it. That's a good price for pebbles.
Man, oh man, did it ever feel nice to move fast again. I made my way to the Samine mill to continue filling my belly, and I also went to investigate the woodcutter's camp to see if I could find that hidden chest after all. I realized pretty quickly that earlier I had headed to the wrong woodcutter camp. Henry, you fool! But anyways, there was a map hidden within the camp that led me to the hidden chest I was told about earlier. The chest was too hard for me to pick with my skills, but after searching the area and looking at the map again, I realized there was a bird's nest lodged in a dead tree containing the key. The problem? I didn't have a bow yet. I did some exploring to see if I could find anything of value and came across a circle of beehives, and one of them had about 78 groschen stashed inside, and of course, I took all of the honey in preparation for my midnight drunk snacks later. I set off once again for Troskowitz, where I purchased my first bow. To celebrate, I did what only a sane man would do. I bought 5 beers and a whole chicken. I devoured my celebratory feast and went to play some dice again. This time, I wasn't so lucky, and I ended up with 0 groschen. Like always, I went to take my first sleep and woke up in the middle of nowhere, this time by Trotsky Castle. I was able to find my way back to Troskowitz, however, to begin my next attempt at stealing this fucking document. After what began as a successful stealth mission, I managed to get alerted when trying to steal the key off of one of the guards.
We fucked it up. We fucked it up. We fucked it up. We fucked it up.
This led to a clusterfuck of being punished twice for the same crime.
Okay, I have to surrender.
I surrender.
I have to surrender.
Enough!
There's no point in resisting. You will be justly punished for everything you've done, for all to see.
Oh, I gotta go get whipped. All right, well, we're gonna have to try and lie our way out of it.
Wait, no! You're wrong! Oh, come on. That was obviously, self-defense.
I'll show you self-defense, you bastard.
Damn, they're all just staring at me.
Surrender!
You want to be ashamed.
All right. You
What did I
caught
do
me.
this time?
I surrender.
Ah, here you are. You've been loitering around where you shouldn't have. And I've received reports of things going
Oh,
missing.
shit.
Don't think we're idiots. You've been accused of theft.
Well, I didn't think it would be this hard to steal this godforsaken document. Since I was down in the dumps, I figured it was a perfect time to put my newfound bow to use and knock down that bird's nest I discovered earlier. So I made my way to the woods near Samine with Pebbles and did just that. After a warm-up shot, of course.
I missed my first shot. Perfect. Oh, let's go. What kind of groschen are we going to find here?
Oh my god. I grabbed the key from the nest and opened the chest to find 381 groschen. We're so fucking back, boys! Now, if you've watched part 1 all this way, we have reached the end. But my friends, this is only but the beginning. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to stick around for part 2, coming very soon to a YouTube suggestions page for you. Will Henry survive now that he's found his first bow? Probably not, but I'm willing to give it a good honest try. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
See if we can shoot this deer. And sell it. I missed. Let's see if we can shoot this deer. Come on. I missed. All right.